What is good, YouTube? Is Aaron back here with the channel, and today we are going to be doing a set 2 Viktor deck discussion and gameplay review from the ranked Rifts and Runes ladder. But yeah, before we get into it, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, let me know what the deck's going to see in the future of this so we can keep it going. So yeah, we are hopping into Viktor. This deck in set 1 was more of a mid-rangey, kind of just like go wide and like grand strat and just like kill everything and go very tall. But the set 2 version of the deck from the early success we've seen in China has been very spell focused, and we now have more removal spells in the form of cards like Drag Under and Wages of Pain and Blood Money to like generate more gold so you can keep ramping to the top end. Yeah, so like the most successful early list we saw was 39 spell cards and this new battlefield called Riftbound Conservatory, which was able to just continue to maintain the card advantage that the deck requires to succeed. Since then, we've seen some adjustments. We've seen cards like Vanguard Armory and Jace, along with Chemtech Casks, which we'll kind of go over a little bit as we get into the deck list. But yeah, there's a lot of good spells in this deck. It's able to be very strong removal. It's just like the control deck of set 2 as of right now. And yeah, I think it's going to be a very strong contender. It has a strong Jaeger matchup because of how much removal it has. And yeah, I'm looking forward to playing the deck a little bit more. Yeah, we'll kind of skim over everything. We've got Bellows Breath, which deals 1 up to 3 units in the same location. This card is for the mirror, but it also has a fantastic combo with Imperial Decree, which says when any unit takes damage this turn, kill it. So first, the cost of 7 runes and 4 power, you can wipe 6 units as long as they're in 2 locations, which is just absolutely absurd. It is game defining in the spots where you're able to resolve it. Yeah, like it's just very good. And Bellows Breath obviously has his own niche removal against like mirror matches and some of like the small 1-drops or 2-drops that the game plays, but in general, like that is like the primary goal you were trying to hit with that. From there, we got Stupefy. Like I said, Blood Money, which Stupefy combos with Blood Money to be able to allow you to pop a 3-drop. Wages of Pain, which is a solid just deal 3 damage, play a gold. Also has a hidden ability for the same. And then Hidden Blade, Cold Awake is one of the best removal spells in the game. And then Chemtech Cask, which is a card we didn't see in the beginning. I think this card is really strong. I don't think it's a card I wouldn't play as a 3 of. I think 1, maybe 2 is appropriate, where just like strong when you open it, but you don't want to like dead draw too many cards in this deck. Like you really need the cards off the top of your deck to be removal or just cards that are playable. And this deck doesn't have the most amount of card draw on the games that it's not a conservatory. You can obviously do things to mitigate that. You'll see in my side deck and some of my changes I made that you have options for it. But I think in general, 1, maybe 2, just so you can open it a little bit more consistently is good. But I don't think it's a requirement for you to win the game. From there, Vanguard Armory is like I think one of like the best cards for order in the next set. Probably the best, honestly. It's just a 7-cost gear that says tap, and then every turn you get to play through 1-cost recruit tokens or 1 micro recruit tokens, which is just really important, I think, for Viktor, because obviously you have removal, but now you just have also abilities to like actually apply pressure to boards. It also allows you to facilitate cards like Xin Zhao. It allows you to side into cards like Grand Strat, just like still be able to play that. So I think it's a really strong card. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a card, a really strong adjustment that people have realized is good in the deck from the initial 39 card spell list. So I think this is definitely one of the key cards in the deck moving forward. Xin Zhao is a card that I've seen in and out of this. I kind of like it. I'm not sure if I want to play 3 of it, but having Accelerate in your deck I think is kind of important in some spots, and also it's a 3 for 4. It's very, very efficient. It allows you to like go even taller because it has tank. I think it's just a pretty solid above average card for its cost. I think it's probably like a 2 of, maybe 1 or 2 of, because you're going to get like relatively deep into your deck over the course of the game, but you're not trying to play it on like turn 3 or 4, or like your 3 to 5 energy turn, just because it has a power cost. And you also have to make sure that you have units in base for it already. So I think probably 2 of it, just like make sure you can get back on board and conquer points, and also guarantee some spots in the late game. But yeah, I think it's a solid card that I would like to include in the list moving forward. From there, Drag Under, just a more efficient, I think the card's Blast of Power from set 1. Falling Comet is a card that's I've seen in and out. It just removal, doesn't cost power, also an action, so it gives you the ability to utilize Blue Viktor, which is the now chosen champion. So I think this is a solid spell. It may end up getting cut for something a little bit stronger, but as of right now, it's on the list due to its efficiency. And then, like we said, Imperial Decree, and then Singularity is one of the best removal spells I think in the game right now. Just really efficient. And then 2 Consult the Past to maintain our card economy, and 1 Salvage. Probably should be in the side deck. I'm just kind of deciding what decks we need tech for. It's like okay into Draven because of the Spinning Axe, and also like in the world where Miracle decks get more popular, being able to hit their seals are important. So I think it's a solid 1 of, obviously in mirror matches, hitting Vanguard Armory I think is very impactful. So definitely going to be in the list somewhere, probably in the side deck, but I was testing it out in the main to see if it actually had utility. Battlefields, we've got Riftbound Conservatory, like I said. File Mall there, which I think I've since changed. This is the list that I played during the match. But I don't think it's something that it's too important. You have enough removal that hits the backline between Bellows Breath, Imperial Decree, Singularity, that you just like don't really need to like lock your opponent into a battlefield. And honestly, you kind of want them to remove their bodies at some point just so you can actually conquer with your one drops. So you don't want to like give them the opportunity to like stick there on accident and make a good play. And then Targon just to make sure you have enough mana for all of your spells. I think there's multiple different options you can play in this deck. We can kind of skim through the good ones. I think Blast of Power, or not Blast, I'm sorry, Treasure Hoard, the one that generates gold, is solid. I think that's like one of the other like primary ones that I've seen played. I think I've also considered Aspirant's Climb as like a game one. I think you could lead Conservatory or Aspirants, like if your goal is like play control, and especially post side when they may have a little bit more text for you, like they may have gear removal in for Vanguard Armory. Just like making sure you win that game one when your deck is most favored is I think important. So yeah, I think that's the two that I'd probably consider. Candle Sanctum is probably like fine. Void Gate is something I've also seen that I've considered as well. So War Camp, okay, but you don't really want to give your opponent the ability to buff their units to get out of your removal spell. So not really something I think this deck really wants. Maybe Grand Plaza just as like a brick or like a whatever a blank. So I think a few different options, but these two Targons and Conservatory I think are going to be pretty consistent in the deck throughout the meta. Side deck, another Salvage, again, card I think is very strong. Rocket Barrage, which is like a card I was kind of testing out in the slot for more gear removal. Probably gonna end up on 3 Salvage. This card's a little bit too expensive for what I want. Because when you look at your deck, it's a lot of like 5, 6, 7 cost spells. And you don't really have the luxury of like, if you want to go like Hero Power plus Spell plus Salvage, it's way cheaper than going like Rocket Barrage. And you generally don't want to play this card for 2, just a little bit too expensive for what its effect is. I've got advantages to like kind of swap in for dead cards and matches. Time Warp, this end up being swapped to a Grand Stratagem. I think it's just a little bit more efficient of what I want it to be, which is like a game ender, and it requires less setup, so I think that is my personal preference. Progress Day, another card that I've cut since then, but I just wanted to like see if I needed more card draw on the deck, maybe for like a mirror match, digging into like more Vanguard Armory, which is actually what this card ended up being swapped to is the 3rd Vanguard Armory. And then I have 3 Jace, which is a card I've seen in lists a decent bit, but I wanted to try it in the side deck. The premise behind this card is obviously you have to cheat out Vanguard Armory very quickly. My deck doesn't play any seals or any like consistent ways to get to gold, outside of like the spells obviously, but like it's unlikely that you're going to be able to like do something like you have to like skip your first turn, Wages of Pain them, and then Jace Vanguard Armory. If you open that, cool, but that's like not, that's like a 3-card combo in a deck in a game that doesn't have like searching, so seems inefficient to do this. My goal behind Jace is I just want to have it for the aggro decks where having Vanguard Armory down quickly, like I need to high roll a little bit, maybe like rek'sai, maybe I'm trying to think of some other, maybe like a Lucian deck, just decks where like you really need to get the Vanguard Armory online quickly to have a chance in the matchup. So that's the idea behind it. I think it's probably gonna get cut, or at least probably like main or cut. And this game has relatively solid consistency, but nothing that searches pieces specifically. So I don't think it's this combo is going to be consistent enough to be for once in my deck. If there's like a world in the future where there's another Vanguard Armory S card and now I have 6 targets for it, it's good. But in the hands where I'm opening like Jace and no Vanguard Armory, I think it's a little bit too lackluster of like a unit for me to play in my deck. So that is the spiel on the list. Let us hop into the gameplay. And there we go. This is Viktor versus rek'sai, which is theoretically just like the worst matchup for Viktor. Being able to conquer is obviously just so efficient for them, and they're going to do it every turn. You're going to remove a guy, they're going to conquer, keep getting value, and they're just so aggressive, especially with the newer lists that are playing like Sundisk and just like have so much ability to accelerate. So yeah, our hand's like solid. We've got Blood Money, Fallen Comet, Wages of Pain. You could even argue to keep the Vanguard Armory, but again, I'm not maining the J, so very unlikely I'm going to actually like get to resolve this perfect curve and have a chance to win the game. So maybe if I think of him leading War Camp, there's like a little bit more of an argument for it, but grand scheme of things, probably not the best play to keep. Yeah, we're just gonna, this is my second time recording. Unfortunately, the first one, the audio didn't get saved, so I'm luckily pretty fresh on what happened. And yeah, we go Vile Malice just to try and force his rek'sai into it. But if I remember, yeah, he goes into War Camp, which in hindsight, I should have put the recruit on War Camp for this specific reason. But I think in both situations, I'm like pretty unhappy. Like, so in this spot, he's at the 4. I could, if my recruit is there, no, I can't even do it. He'll be at 5 because of accelerate. Okay, so yeah, this doesn't actually change anything. I would have had to choose to not play the recruit, and then in that situation, he may just like play pass, um, or I don't know if that's something he would do, but I think it's pretty hard for me in either situation. Like war camp makes it too big, so it is a bit unlucky for me here. Like I have to pick recruit or stopping rek'sai, and unfortunately, I don't know. Like it's just rough either way. Um, yeah, we do this, and now obviously we're in like a pretty difficult position. He hits the captain off of it, and now he's Poro, so like he just went wide, which is like the bane of Victor's existence is width, or not depth, sorry, width. Obviously we have like a card like Bellows Breath, but now on War Camp, if he's able to just like stack up that battlefield, I have to use 2 procs of it to clear 3 units instead of something more. So definitely one of the worst matchups just due to like the properties of it. So we go a little bit aggressive here with the Zinzao. This is, I think, important. We need to be able to get the rek'sai off the board. And he's going to be able to conquer Vile Maws no matter what, so like getting him off of this battlefield doesn't really change anything. And yeah, we get our Zinzao up, we get our token on board. We now have a pretty solid setup here. And we're not expecting to hold indefinitely, but we want to like force him to commit units for this to resolve. He's probably going to send Poro into the Vile Maws, and then from there we can try and defend War Camp. And if I remember correctly, this game just gets pretty unfortunate. I just like get a little bit too much cost in my hand. So he's just playing a lot of 2-drops, as you can see from his deck. He plays Broker, he plays Vanguard Captain. Like his deck is just designed effectively to like win on War Camp. So some of the rek'sai lists I've seen of, if you've been following the meta, have been more spell removal, and they're playing cards like I think Immortal Phoenix is its name, where it like recurs whenever spells destroy a card. So yeah, so like there's the spell list. There's also some little bit taller lists that are playing cards like Darius, and like some are still playing Under Titan. But this list is definitely just like designed to function well under War Camp. He may play Grand Strat on the side, but his deck is very token focused, which is, like I said, really difficult for Victor to deal with because of how much spot removal it has between Singularity and Comet and Drag Under. Like you want one unit that you can remove consistently, not all of these units. So we clear his captain, and he hidden blades us, and we're able to trade 1-for-1. But yeah, now our hand is just like now the draw return is like it will cost so much power to pay, or not power, sorry, energy to play all these spells. And we just don't have that luxury. It's against an aggro deck. So there is not too much to do with this game. Like in a tournament, I would probably scoop from this position, but we're on TCGA where my opponents may make mistakes, and I'm just going to force them to play it out. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, this is a game state that's very losing. We play the Victor, and then I think I have blood money here to clear the War Camp, get us back on the even curve. So we are technically still on pace to try and win the game, which I think is the only thing that we can do. We also get to resolve Consult the Past if we like, which I think I am doing. Yeah. So now we're gonna get another token on our turn, and yeah, like unfortunately we're gonna get walked over, which is not too much we can do about it. But the token we're losing, we're getting back with Blue Victor, so we're doing our best. Unfortunately, not too much that we can do to fix the situation. Our hand's just too expensive against a deck that's going wide. So yeah, we are going to draw, and yeah, just get walked over. And let's see if I speed through this a little bit. So he plays a Poro. We see Rengar in his deck, which is something that we can keep in mind for the future. But yeah, it is definitely a losing game state for us. And yeah, he plays, I think, a Vanguard Captain in the back, right? Or he plays Broker, so yeah. Oh, so yeah, he has just 2 battlefields completely locked down. We have Decree, we don't have Bellows Breath. If we did, we could maybe make something happen, but again, it's our entire turn, so not too much to do. Playing Singularity here, we get to walk over a Poro, but again, like we're still just playing 1 card a turn, and he's just developing like 3 or 4 units, so grand scheme of things does not fix any of the real problems that we're facing. And we can't get up to 6 next turn to try and like even cheese that out when it's just too difficult. Yeah, so Singularity, Hopeful, and probably Captain, I think I remember correctly. But yeah, it's just like too little too late. which is, yeah, like this is like the reason you play Victor in the meta is you're expecting a lot of Draven. It has a solid Aurelia matchup. And I think there's another one, Kai'Sa. It's like, I think it's okay, probably 50-50, maybe a little bit Kai'Sa favor, but it really depends on, I think, like what each list is playing. But yeah, like this, the Draven matchup for this deck I think is above average. It's probably one of the few decks I would even consider having a winning matchup in the Draven. There's probably things you can do as Draven to mitigate it. Obviously, like if you're prepared, you have cards out Vanguard Armory. You are mindful of the play patterns where you're able to hold units in the back and never overcommit to like these type of situations. So yeah, I'm finally scooping here. Yeah, we put the Jaces in. This is the ideal situation for this for that card is an aggro matchup, and yeah, we cut the Drag Unders. Remember exactly what I put in. I think all of these cards are just like not very good. I think Time Warp, yeah, maybe it's to try and cheese out something. And we go Targon's Peak, which is our going first. I think it's very solid. He goes Vile Moss, so doesn't change anything. And we open like the hand that I kind of described in the open or in the explanation, which is just Wages, Vanguard, and Jace, which if we open it, it's gonna be very good for us. It's one of the only ways to win in these situations is to like get lucky. So I would have hard mulliganed for Jace plus like whatever, just to try and guarantee that we combo everything. So yeah, we're on 4. We don't have any gold this turn, but we can set it up next turn for sure. So we set 1. We create a token, and then we set up Cold a Week just to guarantee that we get that rek'sai out of the way, and we hide Wages of Pain to guarantee that I get to proc it this turn. So not a bad situation for us. He's going to be like 2 turns behind Conquering unless he like rips an Accelerate, which this deck generally doesn't play unless they're playing Sundisk. So, and it doesn't look like his deck is playing it because of how much other power he's paying. So we pop ourselves after we hold, and we tap out to get our Vanguard Armory. So we are online, and the quicker you can get this card on, the better. And we are going to be in a solid position. He develops, we're all right. He reveals Under Titan, so he just gets even more value, which is inconvenient, but we can't really complain based off of how our opening is. And yeah, tanks a little bit. If I remember correctly, he goes like really, really wide this turn, plays a bunch of units. Conquers 2. Yeah, plays Poro for free, Hopeful, and Poro. So this is, again, like not great for us because he went super wide, but we have enough recruits over the next few turns that we can kind of just take advantage of the situation. We're going to go Jace. And in hindsight, I think there's a really solid argument to like tap Vanguard Armory, then Jace pop Armory and Armory again. So we just like have 6 units in the back. I don't end up doing that, which I think is probably a mistake. I think the other option is to play my chosen champion here just to like make sure I'm getting additional recruits every turn. And the Jace option is, I guess they're both a power technically, so in terms of me being behind a turn, they're both the same. So yeah, we pay for Victor, we restand. And I missed a Victor leader ability, which I'm generally pretty good about not doing, so I'm kind of annoyed that that happened. Or just like miscalculated the Targons probably. One of the two, either way, it's annoying. Yeah, he just has a bunch of like might in the back, but not a lot of like value. Like he has 1 card in hand. We're not gonna be able to stop him from conquering this turn, but maybe we can only have him conquer 1, or just like force him to commit too much to where he doesn't have a lot in the back, which is the goal here. So we can choose to Blood Money the Poro, but we pay a power, and it doesn't actually stop too much. So, but if we stupefy one of the yellow Poros, it's now 3/2/2, and Jace trades with 2 units instead of 1, which is the ideal. So we stupefy, yeah. So yeah, and even if we Bellows Breath here, which is the card we drew, it trades with 1 additional unit. So like the other Poro, but if we Bellows Breath in a different position, we may be able to trade with 2 or 3 or even more, depending on if we draw a decree. So I think it's better to hold it because the Poro is now weaker because it doesn't have Assault. So that is the thought process there. And if he wants to commit a couple units to this, we're pretty content. Yeah, so we can. So yeah, if I remember correctly, I choose a blood money, but I choose on the other side because there's no legal targets on this side. So yeah, we're gonna blood money the other Poro, guarantee that we get our gold out, we get another recruit out, so we're able to just fight for the board more efficiently. And yeah, like from this position, there's not too much rek'sai can do. Like it doesn't really have strong comeback mechanics, and this is like the detriment of his type of a build. Is it runs out of gas if you're not able to just like hold consistently, which I don't think his deck is able to do on not war camp games. Like you said, like he just has done nothing but play units the entire game, which again, war camp solid. In other situations where I'm also playing units or I'm also removing his board and I'm able to stop him from conquering, then how does he actually come back and like interact with my board and win the game? So we are in a solid position. I make a mistake here. I should not be swinging into the captain. I should singularity first to kill his captain so I get to save a token. But I did not. And we're still going to end up being okay, but just an annoying sequencing thing that I could have played a little better. And on this turn as well, I could also just go tap out for Armory, Jace for Armory, and then Bellows Breath his last 2 in base. So I just get to develop like whatever 7 recruits. And then also clear his board on the next turn. And also makes it so he cannot conquer, which would be optimal for me. I think I end up Jacing. Yeah, so we Jace here because we kill the gold. So this is the other option. I think both are fine, but Singularity is probably like a little bit safer, grand scheme of things. There we go. Bunch of guys. And yeah, doing this setup, it is unlikely he's able to conquer this turn because we have, like I said, Bell's Breath plus whatever. And yeah, we just Bell's Breath, wipe his board. He gets to clear my Viktor, but I get to hold, and then the next turn I get to get on the even curve, and he's a turn behind, and doesn't have any cards. So we're gonna win that one, and we're gonna side the same way. Whatever I took out, I think Drag Under plus something, probably salvage. Yeah, I think Imperial Decree I'd probably take out against his list specifically if my side deck was a little bit better, but this list was pretty not optimized at the time. So got Bell's Breath, Cold Week in the keep. I think it's solid. Definitely trying to hard mull for Jason's. Just like efficient early removal, Wages of Pain, Blood Money. We got Chemtech Cask, which is solid for me. And very fortunate that he misses his 2-drop. Like this is one of like the best case scenarios for me. Because on Arena's greatest, if he gets to go ahead quickly, like we are screwed. So we get to go on to Conservatory, hopefully get some card economy. And yeah, I think you can argue to play Blue Viktor here because you kind of need the body in rotation, and also you want to like you're gonna get more value of it the longer that you are playing the game. And I could even like play Blue Viktor, like set Wages of Pain on Conservatory. So I'm down to 3 mana, but I'm able to get gold out. And from there, I'm pretty much guaranteed to be scaling with between Cask and Wages of Pain over the next like 3 turns. So where I'm not going to be paying any more power. So maybe that was something I could have done because it also generates more immediate pressure for me on the next turn. But yeah, so we go add Bellow's Breath. As played, I think we're just going to like Wages of Pain this. Yeah, like the goal here is just to like trigger Conservator a couple times. We get 2 gold tokens, so obviously not a bad situation to be in, but maybe a little inoptimal. And I choose to do Bellow's Breath here just to try and keep him off point. I think this is a good decision. Like if I'm not going to commit to the Blue Viktor, then this is the other way to do it, is to be very aggressive, prevent him from getting on board at all. And we're still in a solid position, right? Like we have 2 gold, we've got Chemtech Cask. We don't have like the best hand, but could be way worse, and we're able to fight our way a little bit through. I think probably Cold a week here, if I had to guess, just to get the Forerunner out of rotation. And I think I'd probably play Blue Viktor. I think I remember like I playing the recruit here, maybe subpar. So I do agree with this. I definitely Cold a week, and we get rid of a token that's gonna be in the back. And now we have 3 up, so I guess we're gonna just Wages of Pain, but I think I could have like played the Blue Viktor, hit the Wages of Pain, and been fine that way. Obviously we're down to 5, but I mean, again, just like you really just need to like make sure you're optimizing all of your mana. just making sure it doesn't get too far ahead ever. And I think that would have been a little bit more efficient, playing the blue Victor, skipping the recruit this turn, and then hiding the Wages of Pain. But alas, he did not. And if I remember correctly, he goes swing into Arena's Greatest. And technically, we know he plays Rengar. We saw it in game 1, and unlikely it's going to get taken out. So you could argue to like Wages of Pain here, just to like stop him from getting the point. Because now if he swings there and then like Rengar's on my, like I Wages of Pain the recruit on the Conservatory, then I Wages of Pain there, he still gets the point. So I think in hindsight, I'm actually supposed to kill the one on the Arena's Greatest. So because he does end up having the Victor, but I think it's just like a good technical play is to clear out the Arena's Greatest side a little. First is to prevent the potential Rengar because we've seen it in his deck. Because it is a bit rough for us now. He gets 2 points. He's still on the odd curve. We're still a turn ahead, so could be way worse, but we're in a pretty scary position. He forgets to rek'sai his turn as well, which I think is definitely going to come back to bite him. Because at a minimum, like, you get to look for free, so you should always be utilizing it. So our hand here is not very good, and he has plenty of mind on the board. So we go Viktor. I don't know if it's even correct. I just like start playing in the back. Maybe you could argue supposed to like comet something, but like how do we win this game? And I think it's like through Viktor generating us value over the next turn or two. Because he's still 3 turns away on my turn from conquering. Now he's at 2, so he's 2 turns away from winning. Probably the best way to do it is to develop Viktor, because now it's a unit that can help me get on board. And this is where being malleable in your game plan approach is like match defining in some spots. So if you're on the rek'sai side, right, you are playing rek'sai and you're like, okay, I want to conquer every turn, right? Like that's how I win the game, is by just conquering and getting value, etc. But what you hopefully are paying attention to is, well, on my 8 mana turn as control Viktor, I didn't do anything. I played a blue Viktor, I played a recruit, and I passed. Like I didn't try to Wages of Pain to kill a guy. Like I just floundered around and just like did some stuff that didn't matter. So this is like a really specific situation to where I would be looking at like leaving my units on board here and trying to defend. Maybe you can like rearrange your board a little bit. Like you can put like the manufacturer and the captain on one of the boards, like withdraw your Rengar so you get to have a little bit more value with the assault next turn. Maybe like withdraw your hopefuls, but like you want to minimize the impact of Imperial Decree, but you still need to make sure you are maintaining a board presence. And he full withdraws here, which I think is going to end up costing him the game. So now I get to very easily walk in, go up to 6. So now I'm still ahead in terms of like points scored. And now I also have the luxury of hiding, which I didn't have before, and these cards were like awful in my hand prior. Yeah, like I just don't have to do anything at all. I just get to pass, which is just absolutely absurd. I went from a position that was unwinnable from my perspective. Like I don't know how I'm cracking through 7 might on 2 different battlefields, to now like being in a position to where I don't think I can lose. Like I've got 4 draws from this position to hit Imperial Decree. Like obviously I can, but like I can do a lot in this position to like make up for, like I can draw the Theoretical Grand Stratagem, which is in my deck, not in this specific list, but like in general, like there are plenty of good draws in my deck to give me a chance, and I'm gonna get to keep top decking out Conservatory as well, because he's swinging 1 at a time. If you're gonna do this from his perspective, you need to swing in 2 or 3 at a time just to prevent this from happening. There's definitely some efficiency links from the rek'sai side that could definitely have made this matchup better for me, or better for him, sorry. Yeah, like I'm also just developing all these recruits in the bag this entire time. I've got 4 already. Yeah, like we just are very happy with how this has played out for us. And again, like this is like in the rek'sai player's mind, like this is correct from his perspective. Like I get to withdraw, I get to conquer this turn, I get to develop whatever I'm looking at. But as played, like you needed to actually take a bit of a chance that the decree wasn't in my hand, or you can kind of rearrange, like I said, to minimize the impact of a card like Bellows and Decree and whatever, but as played, it's just like really unfortunate that this is how it played out for him. I think honestly in that spot too, you could argue to like Hidden Blade yourself just to get more cards, but from what I've seen, his deck doesn't actually have a lot of interaction. It's like a lot of units like we've seen, so we go for comment on the Decree just to maximize our mana efficiency, and we could Hidden Blade him, but I think just guaranteeing more cards in hand to make life simple is nice. Probably could have like stupefied as well just to guarantee one more occurred, but yeah, like look, like he just has whatever 20 might in this battlefield, but because I have 7 cards in my hand and I have a very above average combo, and again, like this Time Warp, like it could be Grand Stratagem, but also it could just be Time Warp, right? Like I swing over his Vanguard Captain, I activate a Time Warp, and he lost the game. So that is definitely just things you got to be mindful of. Like you have to be situationally aware as the rek'sai, and just in general, like that is how you do well in card games, is you are able to make adjustments on the fly and like win games as a result. So that is going to be it for this one. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know the decks that you are most interested in playing in Spirit Forge, and I'll see if I can get some more gameplay with it. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.